So welcome everybody to the bi-weekly call of Model Registry. Today is February the 3rd, 2025. This meeting is now being recorded, and these meetings adheres, like any other Kubeflow meeting, to the CNCF Code of Conduct. We have some agendas that we typically go through. Today will be mainly focused for the deliverables and sort of the check marks for the 1.10, I believe so. We were just having some informal chats with new contributors earlier, and so we will follow up with that one. Welcome again, and indeed, I hope that with all the great suggestions, we really thank you for considering indeed contributing to the project. So with that, I think that the first order of business that I noted down is to make sure if we get any other update from Milos, if you wanted to share, or otherwise there are some action items that I believe I want to tackle specifically.
Yeah, I could just, thanks, Matteo. I can just say that it's a really great day today. Practically release candidate 0 was cut. This is an amazing thing. So congratulations to everybody here. And yeah, we are then moving forward. I think this is a really, really good milestone for everybody. And yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you, Milos. So there are a few things that I believe will be important to sort of like note down. One is that I'm going to cut a release later today and sync the Kubeflow manifest accordingly. So the point is that in the Kubeflow Model Registry, we have now the manifest correctly linked as option here in UI. So this is the part that I believe was measured at some point last week. What we need to do is that we will need that one in the manifest project, and that is because today it's if I go to what it I also forgot all the time. So it was apps maybe to Model Registry. So we are missing the synchronization here. And so in the release meeting just earlier, I've asked the confirmation that this can be done and can be done. So I know the steps. Just a quick round of hands. If anybody has any knowledge of any other open pull request from UI that needs to be merged before this syncing happens. Can I get some feedback from, I don't know, Lucas, Heather? I don't know.
On my side, I don't have, but Lucas.
Yeah, I was trying to find it. I'm sorry. I was reading. For RC0, I don't think so. We have pretty much everything that we needed. Right now, there's the second point of the meeting that I want to discuss with you all. That might get us through the week, maybe. So we'll need another release for RC1. But so far, nothing else needed right now.
So all right, but one thing that I want to be sure is that so we are okay with the sort of like syncing the manifest, because in RC0 there are no other UI manifest. So the first thing that I believe we need to sort of like realign is that the UI manifests that are in Model Registry, I need them to make them available in Kubeflow manifest. Is there anything else major that sort of like we would like know? Because I saw that the PR for the code was merged. I saw that the PR for the manifest is merged. So it's just missing the release and the PR synchronization.
That's right. Everything that we need for Kubeflow 1.10 is already in the project. There's no need for any major change as it for right now. So we can proceed to sync the manifest, and everything that it's there should make available Model Registry in. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. No, there's a follow-up, but that's something that we need, that's for the second point. I don't want to. There's a few conversations that we need to have, but I'm waiting on second.
All right, so it's like we'll create a Kubeflow Model Registry release and sync manifest with Kubeflow manifest. All right, then manifest. Right, so then there is an open point that maybe we can tackle as well, that has been open for quite a while. And since we are speaking about things that we will be subject to sort of like more than the review, I would say KPI, is that at least we could bump this MySQL image going from 803 to 8039 as part of this pull request. We have been asking for Kubeflow pipelines several times if they had any sort of like things about the version compatibility of MySQL. We didn't receive any major feedback so far, unfortunately. So just if I may have a quick show of hands, if anybody has sort of like any concern, if I merge this one to bump the patch version or this micro version in our manifest. The reason for it is that it will simplify a lot for the people contributing for ARM images. Ramesh, Dheeraj, do you have any concern here?
Is that going to affect KFP folks at all, or it's just for us?
No, just for us.
Then I think I'll give a thumbs up there. Have anybody from our team attended a Kubeflow Pipelines community meeting and proposed this?
What we did is that I went into the Kubeflow release meeting a couple of times. Actually, I was present there multiple times. I've raised to the liaisons several times about the linked point, and we didn't receive an answer. So
okay, all right.
So this is only the latest one that we received from Daniel here, with a recent join to our team that is dealing with the Kubeflow pipelines, but we didn't receive any update either. So this was open on September 18 of last year.
Okay, I'll see.
Yeah, we can always try to reach out. In the meantime, sort of like I would like.
Yeah. I think we should go ahead and push this one out, because that will at least help us fix some of the issues.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I think it may be good to see if there is if they don't have any issues, then we can have them bring them along.
All right. Just also to double check, Dheeraj, are you also fine with this, or am I missing anything?
I'm good.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so decision point here is that the decision will merge. Excellent, and thank you. I know that here this was observed by many people, so hopefully we will get that one. For the graduation plan and show contributing MD for website, I think this will take a longer sort of like run related for 1.10. There was a request to review a way to build container images that I'm dragging from previous things. I would say this one not in scope for the 1.10 unless we sort of clarify, but I just wanted to give it relevance for Odasar, who contributed also in the past. This to me looks overall good, with the exception of signing the DCO. So it's a way, what basically Modasar here wants to make sure to do is that the different architecture for the container image are being published. So far we're publishing for ARM and AMD, if I remember correctly, and this one will extend it further. So that's just a reminder for the people here today. Also, I think that we received recently a pull request by Matthew on the website specifically, so I want to raise it to the attention of the group. What this pull request does is that it gives some additional, I would say, entry points of references for the REST API and the Model Registry Python client. Specifically for the REST API, what it does is that it synchronizes the Swagger and making the UI available on the Kubeflow website, which is similarly to what it happens for the DSP. I think since we are, this is not sort of like in the critical spot for 1.10, but since we were speaking just earlier about documentation, I think that this one is a good. So I'll just leave it there, and people can comment on it if they want to add their opinion. And with that, so these are the things that I wanted to thank you for the patience. I wanted to go through briefly so that at least I know how to update on the release team. And so, and we'll also, of course, copy Milos when this is done. So with that, is there any questions on these points? Anybody that can see a gap that have missed some PRs that they raised with urgency that they believe is a urgent one that I should take care along? Going once, twice. Okay, so I think that I will give it to Lucas, I believe, here for the review namespace selector.
Okay, thanks, Mateo. Can I share my screen one sec? Because
Yeah,
this...
absolutely.
Okay.
Yours.
Perfect. So this is tied directly into the discussion we had around how to improve the experience, the user experience, in which we had this outcome of getting this new namespace called Kubeflow Model Registries and share like and grant every user the ability to access there. I've been doing a research, and the outcome of that research is that it's not possible. That's due to Kubeflow Central Dashboard relying on profiles rather than namespaces. Profiles are custom resources that the Central Dashboard uses to grant role binding access to users in namespaces. There's the whole instructions on how to enable profiles and everything else right there. The main thing that it's important here, I was doing research before, is that you need a role binding and an authorization policy. The way that the dashboard manages that is that you need to have a specific name related to a user. So I've tried things like adding system authenticated and authenticated and everything else to grant every user access to a given namespace that I previously created it, and it wasn't possible. Reading and asking for the best solution here is that the Central Dashboard offers here. Let me check. This should be working here. Okay, yeah. And all namespaces selector right here. That's something, a proposal that I did 2 years ago, and some of the features such as notebooks and TensorBoard and Captive can use. This means that we need to tweak a little bit our backend, the BFF, to handle all namespaces. But rather than having a shared namespace, I think the solution provided, given that there's no way to give a certain profile grant, like give all the users access to a certain profile, is to change the behavior and adapt as other components are doing right now, to allow all namespaces. So when users select this, it will list all model registries in the cluster. Yeah, Heather.
Yeah, I understand the limitation, Lucas, and we need to work around. But the challenge that we gonna have right now to implement this all namespace build and become like kind of namespace agnostics that we are going to need to fetch services in all namespaces that user has available, and this could be a one-to-n queries, because we are going to you have to scan all the namespace that user has access. And in each namespace, you're going to list the services and then ask for a list for the servers for that label.
That's
That's really complicated. We can build caches for this for sure, but we need to take this into consideration.
I think we need to move part of the conversation out of this meeting because this is too technical. Yep. But yeah, I agree. Like there's some. I wonder. This is a new finding. Like I just discovered this today, and I wanted to bring this here before asking the community. But first thing I want to do is to ask the community how they are handling that in notebooks and Catleaf and in other components, because I think this is performance-wise very very inefficient. So I will just taking all the documentation and everything else. It seems that the solution to the central dashboard is having a really scope user experience, given like how they handle profiles and everything else, was to add this L namespace stuff, and no other feature is doing what we were proposing of giving all the users access to a given namespace. So I would rather explore this and see how other components are handling the all namespace stuff, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions. Yeah, Dheeraj?
Yeah, as far as I know, there are only two options, right? You either have permissions to list across namespaces or you don't.
Yeah, that's
cluster-wide, right? So you check for that. If they don't have it, then the only option you have is let the user select a namespace and see if you can list services there. That's all.
Yeah,
right?
But I wonder what other components are doing, because so far, like the regular experience in the Kubeflow dashboard is that you get a permissionless user with only permissions in like the this is the dev environment I don't have here, but you should have a settings panel in which the user only have access to a namespace, and this namespace is the one that is created here, because this is under Dex, and Dex create users, and the users are usually not that like they are not admins. So I wonder how other how are they handling this, since like all the services here are using service accounts to grant RBAC. So I wonder if they even are using these all namespaces to just list everything regardless.
I think all the other components might be namespace centric. So they just never ran into this problem.
And pipelines is disabled.
Yeah.
On the pipelines.
No, yeah, in pipelines is disabled, but for example, in notebooks, but with notebooks, it's not namespace centric. Like you can have, I need to do some tests because this is a recent finding. But the first thing I'm just gonna do is just to create a new namespace, not granting access to the user to that namespace, deploying a notebook there, and see if I select all namespaces, will visit that. Because my guess, and as the community too, but my guess is that this whole namespace thing is just like listing a specific resource in every cluster wide, without giving consideration around the access of the user. I need to ask first, but so far, like what my findings are, that it's almost impossible because of how the central dashboard lists namespaces to give users access to all users access to a namespace.
May I sort of like maybe just raise a suggestion, Lucas, or I don't know, sort of like what I will try to beyond sort of like I think that there is no one specific person in this meeting right now that can fully answer to your question. I think that the people who you may be looking for would be Julius or Matthew, typically, or Andre, because those are I would say, SMEs for that part of the dashboard. If I remember correctly, my suggestion will be, and tell me if it makes sense to you, is like while this is getting investigated, I will keep an eye out for what could be, even if not a perfect sort of like a solution that we are planning to get in the future, some kind of like a way that user can replicate a setup when installing the UI, and then sort of like showing it here connected. Or what will be if there is any problem with this drop-down box, what will be the demo that we would like to show it for 1.10? Because I think that the next question that we will be asked from a release point of view is to say, okay, you have the manifest for UI. How are the users are going to play with it? And even if it's not the sort of like the end sort of like a setup, at least how we can surface some of the feature, and then maybe say, indeed, for this release, this is the demo that we are expecting. This is what we are looking for in the roadmap. And in the meantime, also will be sort of substituted. Eder, you wanted to mention something?
No, yeah, I'm just explaining for Alessio the problem that we are discussing here.
So let me go through your answer, Matthew, because I have internet. I don't know why, but I didn't hear the full answer. But are you suggesting keeping this as it is and reflecting that in the docs, and heading towards like maybe adding all the namespace to the next release with proposing all the solution into the community?
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm saying that. What I'm trying to say is that we have merged the Kubeflow UI, so Kubeflow Model Registry UI manifest in our repo, right?
That's right.
And we are going to sync it or whatever. Since we are an optional component, we are giving the instruction on people on how they can try out Model Registry. So while this investigation is being done, which I urge to continue now, because while the sort of the iron is hot, I will say let's make sure to align with the Julius, Matthew, Andrew, whoever we need in the community to make sure that sort of like integrates very well. I'm also recommending on the side, let's think on how we can make some instruction that people who will receive Kubeflow 1.10 when it will come out can say, hey, as they install Kubeflow 1.10, Model Registry is not there because it's an optional component. We are giving them instruction already on how they can install Model Registry in the scenario. Then let's think of which kind of instruction we can give them to sort of like showcase the work that you and your team has been doing over here. So just something to keep in mind so that we will be able to.
Perfect. I already have that. Like I'm doing that investigation with this, and I have the all the steps and the instructions right here to deploy it as it is. So I will post that. Next steps is just in the same issue thread that we had for the proposal. I will add my findings and the instructions to get everything working as together. So maybe we can get that as a first step to update our documentation to make sure we can let the user know how to install Model Registry and have the best experience as it is right now, and get back to the community proposing, for example, just to enable the namespace selector, and if that's accepted, just update from there.
Yeah, Sounds sort of like my only advice here is like not interrupt anywhere. Let's continue further, and let's say at least we have a fallback plan for the documentation in case that doesn't sort of like take time. That was my recommendation. Ramesh, you have your raised hand.
Yeah, so maybe I was trying to say somewhat similar. So maybe I will reinterpret so that I have the right same understanding as what you guys are talking about. Right. So we are going to, what I suggest first thing is, Lucas, have a open a issue somewhere with the problem clearly explained, so that we can get the feedback from others in the Kubeflow community, that we can talk about what we are saying. The second one is, so that's for the future. We don't have to solve. The second one, I think, goes into the what Mecho was saying, is if there is a way we can install a opinionated, even if you are giving, right now, when we install a default model registry, I think it goes at a access to everyone kind of a way. Even if you want to give a opinionated install of model registry UI on top of the existing model registry, it's only single instance of it, right? Let's do that as the first step, so that when the user goes to the documentation, installs the model registry and the UI, whatever the permissions you need to give, just let's say, you'll put it in an asterisk somewhere in the document and say, hey, this is developmental purposes only. You have to be strict on the permissions, so on and so forth. But let's give them the experience to do the install so that they can look at the registry and play with it without any interruptions, right? Those are the two things I would do going forward.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
One not 10, I would do the second one, and going forward, how to do it properly, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, that's perfect, and that was in our plan. So like we have right now that I'll detail that in this same thread, which is the one that we've been using to discuss the same topic, and we can get back to the community. Maybe is this a fair topic to discuss in tomorrow's meeting, or maybe we should leave that into?
No, put a PR, put an issue somewhere, then we can go bring it up in the community meetings there, or we can go into some specific community meeting. Maybe we can evangelize and say that, hey, can you guys take a look at it and give us a feedback on this?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So perfect. That's clear. We'll we'll get everything to get a success installation of model registry inside the Kubeflow 1.10 release, and from that we'll propose something new, such as like the name namespace selector or something else. But yeah, that sounds like a plan. Perfect. So that's pretty much it. I'll update everything. Yeah, right now it's late here. Maybe later today or tomorrow first in the morning. Perfect. So yeah, perfect. Great. So that's that was the whole point.
Thank you, Lucas. Much
Okay.
appreciated.
Thanks.
All right, let me share back on the screen for the notes. And is there any other points, Lucas or Eder, from the UI side you wanted to sort of like share?
Nope.
All right. By the way, also just as a reminder, these days is a bit chaotic on the GitHub notifications. So if you need anything from me beyond tagging me on GitHub issue, don't hesitate to reach me out on Slack. So in case it will be a bit easier to notice earlier. I see.
Yeah, I added this one.
All right. So do you want to take it?
Yeah, it's just a quick message for everyone in the community. If you want to take a look on this proposal, just for feedback also for this group, because I really like to work with these guys. Is my proposal for the IDE working group. Probably I'll talk more about this tomorrow. And yeah, I invite everyone to read and comment and share feedback. Especially the biggest impact for model registry is regarding to remember that demo that I showed some weeks ago to have a model registry extension from Jupyter, a visual and also for the SDK. This will be part of this working group. That's it.
Very nice. So it's like you're inviting basically people for sort of like a commenting.
Yes.
And
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Eder. So the thing will be discussed also, sort of like presented in tomorrow's community call.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Ramesh, you have your raised hand.
I was hoping, is there some kind of a demo you guys planned? What's coming in 1.10 as far as the UI is concerned? Because I don't think I have seen that before. I mean, I've seen the original screen with the model registry and the models one, but I don't think we have seen. It's going to be a total surprise, It's surprises.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Yeah, we haven't done. Do you guys have 2 minutes? I can show you why we haven't done that. So far, like our only problem, which is let me take my screen 1 sec, Matteo.
Sure.
I'm just gonna show it.
Do you want to record that one into a different segment, Matthew, so that we can post it? Or
no, typically what I do is that I add chapters, if that is okay with you.
However you do it.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like it will be difficult for people to realize which meeting it was.
Okay, well, yeah. So we haven't just add that just because like there are some UI tweaks that we are doing right now. If you like note how other components have this look and feel, which is similar to what we have right now, but it's slightly different. This is just like the midstream code, and we have lists and we have actionable items for this sprint to we can enhance all these UI elements. That's all the minor PRs that we are raising right now. So we are treating this as bug fixes. So it will be nice to just have the demo once everything here is fixed and we got the final working version, because like right now as it is working, this is just a version running with Kubeflow dashboard and everything's running around with model registry and everything else. But so far I will just wait until we have the version that it's similar and it's closer to the final release, so we have an official demo. But so far it's already working here, and we have. And if you guys wanna access to this is an OCA cluster, so like it's just under the. So feel free to reach out to ask for access if you wanna like check around and take a look. But so far it's that once we have all the enhancements in the UI. We can propose to have an official demo for the model registry UI.
Let me ask a quick question. So if I understand correctly, and please correct me, is like the earlier you mentioned that you have some docs that eventually can sort of like are the what also Ramesh called it an opinionated way to present on how to install the model registry UI. And what I like about Adiresh also mentioned in the chat is that sort of like that is not only an opinionated way, but it also empowers the user to set up their own security if so they wanted. That is an example way to set it up. And of course, people are free to choose and customize it the way they wanted. Let's say that I follow those instructions when it will be shared. Will I get sort of like what I'm seeing on the screen right now? Because my suggestion is like, if there is anything else missing in those instructions, put it there so that at least people can see this part. Maybe it doesn't work exactly in the way that you wanted, but it's still an opinionated way.
No. It works perfectly. It's just like, and the instructions are really clear, which is like once you set up the Kubeflow central dashboard and you get access to there, you get your profile and your namespace. This is a namespace that you have access. Kubeflow user example So in this case, it's just a matter of deploying model registry instance in this namespace, and it will work. So,
okay, so instead of being deployed in the sort of in the Kubeflow namespace, you deploy it in this user namespace.
That's right. And
the UI will tell you, oh, you just have one model registry, it is this one, and sort of like it's getting displayed.
Yeah, and if you deploy another instance, it will appear here. Right now it's disabled because we only have one, and that's the behavior. But once you have two model registries, the model registry selector is enabled, and you can select between them. So that's and like the instructions are pretty clear. It's just like deploy the model registry as a component, which is like deploying the overlay and editing the config map in the Kubeflow, and then deploying a model registry instance in the given namespace that you have access to. So it's pretty straightforward, but we can improve the experience if we want to deploy model registry in the shared namespace and then enable the namespace. But that's the thing that we can.
Yeah. So like the thing that I'm trying to get to is sort of like also what Ramesh was iterating earlier, and we were discussing it is like if you have these options on how you can install it, actually is even better. So sort of like if we have sort of like we discussed earlier, sort of like a plan B for documentation that sort of like work to accessing, is like this could be even a C option instruction set to say, hey, is like you're deploying your model registry in your own namespace. Some people may decide to do it this way. Let's just give the sort of like, it doesn't have to be a perfect instruction, but sort of like what I would like to know is sort of like the steps that they need to go through so that we can formalize it in the website, and then we give them options. And people can sort of like out of the gate of 1.10, they will need to choose. Maybe we will sort of like direct them in what will be the preference to do, but then at least we have option to showcase all the hard work that you and your team are doing in this way with these instructions. Because it's quite a pity that we have this working as we see on the screen right now, and simply right now the things are not sort of like simply emerged in a way from the documentation point of view. So if you have even two options to install it, for me, it's I think it's a great point. Of course, if you manage with the help of the others from the community to have also the drop-down box working in the way that you intended, it's fantastic. But in the meantime, there are sort of like things that can be done to showcase on this one.
I agree with you guys. I think that's perfect, and that's why I told you earlier that the release as it is, it's perfectly working. So we can get everything working with the proper instructions, and everything else that we can add is just an improvement to the user experience. But so far, like we got to the release and on time, and everything's like working as expected, more or less. Yeah. So yeah.
I think I have not heard in the community people who have deployed multiple registries yet in Kubeflow, right? You know, although we give that option, nobody has done that. So I think taking a shortcut there for now to provide at least that initial in there is a pretty good step, and so that we can bring the more adoption, right? Obviously, you know, soon after 1.10, we can come up with whatever you're doing and update the instructions, and it will still work with the 1.10 at that point. We can update the version of the UI to a different version and update the instructions.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. We'll look forward to taking it for a spin soon with 1.10 then.
And these are so okay. Thank you so much, Lucas, and especially sort of like for doing it on the spot. Is much appreciated. So let's say it's not so common to be able to on a 2 minute call to actually showcase a demo. So that's really great, and thank you for sharing this with the community. Maybe these are maybe there are options also for doc install in a C option in the user namespace. Something like this. All right. So this was one item. Does anybody else have any other points that they would like to discuss today? Going once. Don't be shy. As I say, like we're having quite some fun. Going twice.
Anything more? Anything else for 1.10? That's the whole thing.
Yeah. So it's like I think that we have our action items for 1.10. So just as a reminder, what is going to happen in a while is that later on I will create a Kubeflow release, and then I will create the pull request to sync the manifest, and and then kickstart the usual synchronizations works also in the different midstreams and downstreams for those interested. All right, so I don't have any other items in the agenda today. Thank you so much for all your participations. And with that, I strongly invite, it's like Madi, please feel free to, sort of like follow up when these instructions will be shared in the repository. I think is like that Lucas or somebody will raise up here in the time. So if you want to try it out, I think that will be a great way to contribute and, to suggest documentation fixes, updates over that one. I think that would be fantastic.
Of course, thank you very much.
Perfect. And with that, also just a reminder for everybody that every Tuesday there is the Kubeflow community call that is general topics. Is also getting a revamped format. So kudos to all the Kubeflow steering committees members that are revamping that effort. So I strongly invite everybody to check it out at community call. But otherwise, we will see everybody in 2 weeks' time. And thank you all, everybody who contributed today. And as always, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.